Erica Kirk's backstory is more tangled and contrived than Barack Obama's official narrative, and that's saying something. Two main storylines have always been pushed about her parents. Nobody really knows who her dad is. Her mum raised her all on her own. And supposedly the reason she ended up in Scottsdale, Arizona instead of Ohio was because her parents got divorced. Now, why did people believe this version of events? Because Erica said it herself, and because the media, as usual, just went along with it, never questioning the obvious holes in her story. Here's the truth. Her parents are Lori and Kent Francevy. Yes, they divorced, and yes, Erica and her mum moved to Scottsdale, but no, she didn't move because of the divorce. By Erica's own words, her mum went to Arizona for a business opportunity, one that just so happened to connect back to the murkiest corners of the Obama deep state. With her background in the Department of Homeland Security and her connections with the DoD, it made sense for her to set up shop in a place where those deep state connections could be leveraged.
How did your mom choose Phoenix?
So she chose to move to Phoenix from Ohio because there was more of an opportunity for a female business owner out here, especially from the standpoint of she was getting involved with the government, so Homeland Security and Department of Defense. And so she had other business partners that were out here that were already in that industry, even one that was a mentor of hers. So it was really convenient to be able to come all together in one place to really have that.
Erica has repeated over and over that she was raised by a single mother. The media echoes it constantly, painting a picture where her father Kent is practically invisible. They pretend like he had nothing to do with her upbringing. But here's the twist. While people have been busy trying to tie AZ Tech and its Israeli connections to Kent Francevy, it wasn't Kent who launched the business at all. It was Lori, Erica's mother. And yet Kent, the father, who was supposedly absent from Erica's life after the divorce, just so happened to be listed as the company's program research director. That's right. The company, founded in 2003 and based in Scottsdale, Arizona, connects both parents. Even more telling, for most of her public career, Erica carefully crafted the image that her dad wasn't around. But in this very video, she openly admits that he was part of her life and living in Scottsdale with them. So why spend years hiding that? Why build an entire narrative of a single mum struggle story, when the truth was sitting right there?
But my father ended up moving out here as well because my grandparents had a home out in Sun City. And so it took a little bit to get everyone out here. It took several years, but by that time, everyone was out here. So we had a little bit more family than just us.
Here's where the backstory really goes off-piste. Yes, Kent is Jewish and does have ties to the Israeli deep state. But hold on, because this is where things get even stranger. Lori, not Kent, created a subsidiary of AZ Tech called G-Tech Industries, a so-called security firm. But G-Tech wasn't just some local tech outfit. They were working with the Department of Defense, Lockheed Martin, the NSA, and even elements of the intelligence community. So the question becomes, what exactly was Lori building in Scottsdale? And why was it so carefully hidden behind this plucky single mum narrative of divorce and struggle? And yes, people, your suspicions were correct. Lori's companies, AZ Tech and E3 Tech, weren't just dabbling in small-time defense contracts. They were directly involved in projects related to Israel's Iron Dome, through collaborations with Raytheon.
These are missiles from Israel's Iron Dome missile defense system, a land-based system that intercepts and destroys short-range rockets and mortars. It has become a bedrock of the country's defense since its introduction in 2011.
And it doesn't stop there. The firms were tied into multiple projects across the Department of Defense and the intelligence community. They even boast that they specialize in EMP or electromagnetic pulse proofing. So ask yourself, why has the media sold us the single mum storyline while quietly ignoring the fact that Erica's family was plugged directly into some of the most sensitive defense and intelligence programs in the world? Also ask yourself, is it starting to make sense how Erica Kirk was able to set up an NGO for orphans that connected them with high-level military operatives in NATO bases across Europe? With this in mind, do you really believe Erica's story about accidentally meeting Charlie Kirk while she just so happened to be in Israel with her mum?
Just know that nothing is by mistake. Nothing. I will never forget the time I was in Israel with my husband, well, that was the second time, but the first time with my mother on a pilgrimage. And I was standing in the ticket line, and I remember looking behind me And in the snake of the ticket line was a guy who looked very familiar. I had no idea who he was. And I told my mom, this guy looks so familiar. And as a typical mother, she said, go and say hi. No. We were late for our flight, and I'm not going to come off like a crazy person that's just weird. That ended up being Charlie. Nothing is by coincidence. Now, did we know that? No, not until we were like 3 months into our relationship and looking at timestamps, seeing that both of us were in Israel at the same time. But nothing is by coincidence.
With her family's deep ties to defense contractors, intelligence circles, and even projects tied directly to Israel's security state, are we supposed to buy that this was some random coincidence? Whenever you're staring at a false flag that doesn't add up, stop and ask yourself, who benefits? Because when something smells off, it usually is. It's called Occam's razor. And the fastest way to get to the truth isn't the press releases or the official statements, it's to follow the money, track the contracts. Look at who ends up richer, more powerful, or more protected after the dust settles. That's where the real story always lives. Literally minutes after Charlie Kirk was shot, Benjamin Netanyahu was spamming social media with messages about the tragedy, somehow managing to make it all about him. As the dust settles, nothing has changed. Since the assassination, Israel has seized even more power in the US, with Netanyahu going on record admitting that he's waging war on Americans with propaganda. And social media is Israel's new battleground.
We're going to have to use the tools of battle. You know, the weapons change over time. You can't fight today with swords. That doesn't work very well, okay? And you can't fight with cavalry. That doesn't work very well. And you have these new things, you know, like drones, things like that. I won't get into that. But we have to fight with the weapons that apply to the battlefields in which we're engaged. And the most important ones are the social media. And the most important purchase that is going on right now is TikTok. TikTok, number one. And I hope it goes through because it can be consequential. And the other one, what's the other one that's most important? X. Exactly. Very good. And, you know, so we have to talk to Elon. He's not an enemy. He's a friend. We should talk to him. Now, if we can get those two things, we get a lot. And I could go on other things, but that's not the point right now. We have to fight the fight.
Israel now controls the US TikTok algorithm, and Netanyahu's propaganda war is already raging in America. Let's be clear. He's commissioning Americans to fight against their fellow Americans in order to secure support for the state of Israel. He's not just meeting with AI developers for tech talks, he's meeting with them to push an agenda, to make sure Israeli propaganda gets baked right into the algorithms themselves. And meanwhile, on Israeli-controlled TikTok, users are reporting the sudden change in content moderation rules. Comments such as this one, stating that Democrats and Republicans in Congress are both controlled by AIPAC and now being removed for violating community standards. TikTok is now being run by Oracle, their CEO, born in Israel, and their CTO, Larry Ellison, he's not just any billionaire, he's a Zionist, the second richest man in the world, and the single largest private donor to the IDF. Think about that. An American citizen funneling billions into a foreign military. How's that right? How is that legal?
We have two CEOs at Oracle. One's name is Safra Katz, and she was born in Israel. So again, we love the country of Israel, and we'll do everything we can to support the country of Israel.
So ask yourself again, who really benefited since the assassination? Who walks away with more power? Who came out richer? Because once you answer those questions, the truth stops looking like a mystery and starts looking like a blueprint. Here at The People's Voice, we're determined to continue exposing the crimes of the elite, but we need your help. Subscribe to the channel, tell your friends and family about us, and join the People's Voice Locals community for exclusive and uncensored content. We can't do it without you.